Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, expert property manager here with us. And we're talking about deposits with tenancies when you are a tenant and you put your deposit on a rental property and you change your mind. Do you get it back? Do you get it not back? What are the rules in New South Wales? Stay tuned. Expert property manager Cleo with you. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Good, thanks. Good. You're looking very professional today.
Yes, I have a few appointments, so the jacket came out.
Bit cooler, you know. Tell us all about tenancy deposits. So we've had a couple of curly ones lately. So a tenant is required to put a deposit on a property once they're accepted. How does that work? And then let's talk about it circling back. So what do you need a deposit for?
So typically you pay 1 week holding deposit. It's called a holding deposit. So you can hold that property for you. Basically, it then makes the property manager be able to take it offline or put deposit taken. Therefore, people know that someone, is pre-approved and most likely going to have that property. So you pay your 1 week and then you pay another week before you move in. You have to be 2 weeks up front before you start your tenancy. And that's not including bond. Bond is separate. So you 1 week holding deposit to hold that property, and then 1 week before you move in.
Where does it go wrong?
So sometimes tenants will pay a holding deposit. It is a non-refundable deposit. There is a disclaimer. It does say that it's a non-refundable holding fee if you want to go ahead and proceed. For whatever reason, they change their mind. They haven't done their due diligence. The work ute doesn't fit in the car space. They no longer want the property for whatever reason. They then ask for their deposit back.
Ouch.
Which is no. Yeah. So it's non-refundable the first week. If you pay 2 weeks, then of course we give you the 1 week back. But the holding fee, the 1 week's rent, you lose because that's a whole week of marketing that the owner has lost by taking it offline, putting deposit taken. No one will then come or is interested, and they have to start that campaign all over again. So it's really to cover that owner's expense for taking it down.
Does that go into the agent's pocket, or does that agent make any money out of that loss?
No, the agent doesn't make any money from it. It goes straight to the owner, and then it forms part of the owner's fees that they pay regarding advertising and let fee and all that.
Agent loses as well.
The agent loses as well after the approval, and you know what? Sometimes these tenants that pull out these holding deposits, their proposed moving date might be 2-3 weeks down the line, and then they change their mind all the way, like maybe 2 or 3 days beforehand. So that's 2-3 weeks. That's gone. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. So it can cost the owner a lot more than that 1 week, dependent on when they
tenants
pull
must
out.
be just really understanding and love and like almost love this.
I don't know about that. It is a breakup when you forfeit a 1 week holding deposit. There is definitely something that's gone wrong, whether it be the property or circumstance. So yeah, look, there is also a misconception that once a lease is signed, that assures that property as well, and that's not necessarily the case. If you sign a lease in advance of moving in, unless that date is actuated, the lease is really just a piece of paper. It has to be the date of the start of your tenancy where that lease actually takes effect. So signing your paperwork early doesn't necessarily guarantee anything either.
For the tenant or the landlord?
For either, correct.
Whoa, whoa, wee, whoa, whoa, whoa. So do agents not explain this when a deposit's taken, or do tenants like just not hear this when they pay a deposit? Because sometimes they go medieval.
It is all in the documentation. When you are approved and you pay your holding deposit, you're given an email, and it's all outlined in the email that it's a non-refundable holding deposit that you will lose if you change your mind. So it is in there. I don't know whether agents, reiterate and reaffirm that when a tenant pays, because that's the happy
Mm,
part. They take the property, they're so excited they've got the property. You're like, yes, you got it. It's that romance period. You're not going to be like, but here's the prenup. So
yeah.
I don't know.
And if there is a prenup, instead of just signing, go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
And especially in this market with such a shortage of properties, tenants.
Yeah.
I've had tenants that have put down 2 or 3 holding deposits for properties to assure that they get the one they want and don't care if they lose the money. If they're really passionate about a property and they want to get in the forefront.
It's a
But
lot of
yeah,
money to lose.
it is. But I mean, it's all dependent, how badly you want it.
Any other tips before we go on deposits?
Just be ready to pay your deposit. If you're in an open home and you really love the property, I would be saying to the leasing consultant or the property manager, look, I'm available to pay my holding deposit right now. I really want to take this property, because that is a commitment that the owner, knows that, that's a solid applicant. They're ready to pay. And then all the rest of the paperwork and everything gets sorted out later.
Can once you've paid a deposit, can an owner, I think we answered this before, but can an
Mhm.
owner just send your deposit back and go change my mind?
Yes, they can. They might have done a deeper dive and really been like, no, this tenant's not for me. I don't want to proceed.
Yes.
Um, so yes, and then we would have to make that dreaded call and say, look, unfortunately, the property's been withdrawn, which is what
Yes.
what we would say, because that has happened quite a bit sometimes. An owner might have a family friend that wants to take it last minute, and then they say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm leasing it to my neighbor. Can you take it offline? And it is unfortunate because we do a lot of work in processing the applicants and doing the open home. So it's a bummer.
It's a bummer. So, how much is normally a holding deposit for a tenant going? It's 1 week.
1 week's
And
rent. Yeah.
are you allowed to ask more?
We do. We ask for 2. So we always say you pay 2 weeks up front, but that holding deposit and that extra week makes up for those 2 weeks that you'll have to pay before you move in anyway. And most tenants are happy to do that.
And that deposit goes towards rent.
Correct.
So
It's
don't
all
think that
towards the
it's
rent.
just a deposit for a deposit. Like it's going to go towards the whole thing.
Yeah, that's right. So your first 2 weeks. And there's also a misconception that you're always then 2 weeks ahead when tenants pay that 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because once you collect your keys, you don't pay rent for 2 weeks. So you in effect use up that 2 weeks. So you're not 2 weeks in advance.
Ahead. And
It's
how do you
confusing.
pay a holding deposit?
We take a payment credit card through a QR code system. So it will be from your credit card.
So most people are just paying on their credit card.
Yeah. Yeah. We
Really?
send them the QR code, and then they
Can they
pay it.
DD?
Beg your pardon?
Can they direct deposit it as well?
Yes, they can. They can direct deposit to us. We just prefer a credit card because it actually gives us the approved, cleared amount.
Any juicy stories on not getting deposit back that we shouldn't really talk about?
I don't know about juicy stories, but I have had many years ago, tenant paid their holding deposit and their 1 week and it bounced and they'd already moved in. And I don't know how that happened, but it did. And there was all this controversy on, if their first payment has bounced, how are they going to pay the rest of the tenancy? It was like a 1,500 a week property in Manly. And
Wow.
so that was kind of juicy. And we have had tenants shout. I mean, that's just normal, but we've had tenants shout at us when the property isn't what they wanted, so they want their money back. I want my money back.
I
But
want my
yeah,
money back. And before we go, the reasons why people forfeit a deposit would be can't get their ute in the garage. They never thought relationship breakups. What are the other
look,
items?
usually work relocation, people that are contracted to certain states. We've had a lot of those where the contract, is somewhat changed and they have to be back somewhere else, and then therefore they don't take it.
Yeah,
That's probably the most likely. But yeah, because 1 week's rent's a lot of money for a lot of people. You're not just going to forfeit that willy nilly. So
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you, legend. What's Lisa saying? We had to issue millions of receipts once to one tenant.
Yeah, that wasn't bond, that was rent. Good memory, Elisa. That was a nightmare. Thank God we don't take checks anymore.
My God, we had a tenant write one set check,
The
one
check
and two
man.
cent. He was a check man. He wrote 1 and 2 cent checks for $500 a week of rent. So
I
we
know, it's
received,
crazy.
I think it was even 20 and 5 cents, but we received like 200 or 300 checks for every week's rent he had to pay. He actually filled out every single check,
And they
and
bounce.
we had to bank it. And we went to fair trading and complained and said, this is not reasonable. Fair trading agreed.
Yeah, and he
He's,
said he
he,
didn't speak English and needed an interpreter, but his English was perfect. He was Australian.
anyway,
I
one of the
can't.
many
That's another
stories of
segment.
rentals. One of the many stories. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day. And that is
Bye.
tenant deposits. Thanks, Cleo. Cheers.